Hello everyone and welcome to the Net Saviors Podcast. I'm your jolly old host, Adell. And with me is the man who reprogrammed me from the ground up so that I can become whole again, MegaMasterX.
Hello, Adell. It's been a while. How are you feeling?
I don't think I can, I don't think there's words in the English language yet for that, but it's not bad.
It's good to hear.
It's okay.
It's been quite a while since we've been able to sit down and get time from our busy lives saving the net, as we do as net saviors, and also work, but mostly work. It's been a while since we've been able to sit down and riff about Battle Network, and I think that we have kept the fans waiting.
Yes. But like I said, you had to, rebuild me from the ground up. My data was just all over the place after our last episode.
It was just everywhere. There was just such a mess. I had to get a mop at one point. It was just a big cluster truck. It was crazy.
Yeah. And then Mars completely destroyed me. So, here we are again.
So, what do we have on the docket today, my friend?
So today, we have the one that we probably should have done last time, but chose not to because of continuity purposes. That's right, people. We're on Battle Network 3, finally.
Oh my god!
We did it. The last game in the Battle Network series that matters. And also the best.
I mean, so, I have a lot of... This episode is going to get probably a little sentimental because, I'll be honest with you, Battle Network 3 was actually my very first Battle Network game. Whoa. So I've got really fond memories of it.
Nice.
Additionally, and we'll go into this a little bit later when we talk about, well, I guess we can talk about our memories now. Adell, what was your fondest memory of Battle Network 3?
My fondest memory was when Final Operation started playing at the very end. Mm-hmm. When that song came on, followed by Farewell, and all that, the entire story is a ride, but the ending is what gripped me the hardest in it. It was just... I remember tearing up as a kid and be like, oh my god. Whoa. Amazing. So
I think that BN3 was the first game that I ever had kind of an emotional reaction to, in that you learn just so much. And bear in mind, folks, that this episode is likely going to contain spoilers.
So if
you have not played Battle Network 3, first and foremost, you should absolutely take time out and play either of the versions of BN3. They're both stellar games. I mean, the only difference is chips and navis. But you should definitely play them. But after that spoiler warning, back to the topic. Battle Network 3 gave me kind of this emotional reaction, learning about Hub and how he died as a baby and was digitized, and just seeing Mamoru and how Mamoru was inspired by the Hikari twins, and just learning more about that, the pulsing in, going into the network. There's just so much really, really heavy stuff that Capcom just dumped on us in the middle of the series, and it's just had such a visceral feel to it, you know?
You summed up perfectly. And what's kind of sad is, though, they brought up a lot of interesting things that were never really touched upon again. The pulsing in always seemed like the next step. Wherein, as opposed to in 6 when we got the robot bodies?
The copy bots?
The copy bots, yeah. That seemed like a step backwards from, pulsing in, but I don't know. I guess it's just a different way to look at it.
Well, I mean, the pulse-in technology was never meant to actually be used by people. If you recall, every instance of pulsing in Battle Network 3 was done with, test units. Even in the World 3 Island and Wily's Castle, all of those were wired up to massive, massive machines.
That's true.
Because these things were never meant to ever really be used. They were just there as an experiment and just... happened to be in convenient situations where the plot needed them and things of that nature.
It's interesting though. I really like that idea behind it. They also, BN3 is the first game to introduce full synchro.
It is,
in a way. So to our listeners who may not know for some reason, full synchro is a mechanic introduced in BN4 and up's battle system, where when you land a successful counter hit, you enter full synchro, and then you deal double damage on the next chip you use. No matter the chip.
Not in Battle Network 3. Full synchro was
Yes.
introduced in 4 because of the emotion gauge.
Right.
Battle Network 3 did have the counter system.
Yeah, but it
Where
was weird.
I mean, well, yeah, but like you would like temporarily stun your enemies if you hit them within certain frames of their animation. It would stun them. It would basically paralyze them for a few moments. And at the end of the battle, assuming you won the battle, you would get bug frags contingent upon the number of times you were able to counter and the number of enemies you were able to counter.
Well, no, it didn't stun in BN3. It you only got the counter hit if you deleted them. Right?
Right, yes, you're right.
Yeah. And you had a huge window, too. Like, in the battle system used for 4 and up, it's a very small window. But in 3, it's just a thing, like, if you delete the enemy, you'll hear a little ba-da-doo, and it's a huge window of opportunity. You can even do it with your Buster.
You can.
So, but yeah, it introduced full synchro as a story element, not as a battle system.
It was, and I think that the way that they executed it, they introduced it within the tutorials that you can't skip at the beginning of the game, unfortunately. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, in 4, yeah.
They introduced the mechanics in 3, the mechanic of countering, like they actually explained it out to you.
Yeah.
Which was really nice.
Yeah, hit this guy as he does an attack. Nice. But yeah, full synchro was really cool. You know, like the evil guys pulse in. And they're like, oh, well, my net navi got stomped last time. I'm a human in here now. Let's join up. And they fuse with their net navi, and their power increases, and it's really cool.
That was really nice.
And then you fry the net ops.
Yep. you just kill them. You just kill them cold blood.
Straight up, like, oh no, they're not moving. Yeah, well, whatever. Playing some murder.
Had a good run, I guess. But yeah, so let's talk for a bit about mechanics, because Battle Network 3, I mean, as with the previous iterations of Mega Man Battle Network, BN3 reiterated on quite a bit. It maintained a lot of the core of the previous games, so like things like it introduced, I mean, we can just go down the laundry list if you want to riff about them.
Yeah, so again, it just, what's the best way to put it? BN3 took 2 out of the laundry, shook it dry, and hung it on the line. And from that, we got all kinds of new things, basically.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so instead of it just being like, oh, you have Navi chips and standard chips, now we get standard Mega Giga chips. And it's just, it helps so much, because now power could be mitigated properly. People weren't running 3... or usually weren't running 3 of the same version Navis anymore, kind of thing. And it worked out a lot better now.
We didn't have Gator.
No Gator,
which is great.
That being said, I'm trying to remember how many... No, this one did not have the most. One still holds the most for program advances, but this one has 32. A lot of which are actually worthless. I'm sure people will be like, no, 500 barrier is amazing. Or MomCake is really good. Or Evercurse is the greatest thing in the world. But, it introduced... Oh, go ahead.
It introduced chip classification, too. It's the first time that Mega and Giga chips have been separated out.
Yeah.
Which kind of really opened the door for folder building. Megabyte values had a bigger impact in this game. No.
There's just
on the
so
topic
much.
Of like, yeah, I mean, like, well, there was also mechanics. I think BN3, and this is like kind of a segue. I don't know if you had any other topics you wanted to talk to about chips. So I have
the only other thing with chips is it had a huge variety, and it introduced a lot of like chips you don't see ever again outside of it. Specifically, things like the virus chips.
My favorite part of the game, almost.
Yes, that. It's just like there's so much that happened here, but it also introduced a lot of things that stuck with the series until the end. So
I completely agree. I mean, on the topic of like the Giga chips, they also introduced dark chips in a way, because
Yes.
and this kind of plays into a new mechanic that was introduced in Battle Network 3, and it really changed the game, not just for this installment, but for all future installments in the Navi Customizer. It opened up a new layer of customizability. It got rid of the power-up system, finally, and replaced it with something so significantly better, because like Capcom could basically content gate your power based off of the Navi Customizer parts available to you at any given part of the story. And it also kind of like there were chips that you would require a certain Navi Customizer part to use, or you would have to use another chip before you use those chips, like Serenade and I think one of the base chips.
Serenade, Base, and Dark Aura.
Yes, those were the three. So it technically is the first instance of dark chips.
I mean, it says it's a dark chip.
It does. It does not pull punches. It says in plain text that it is a dark chip, or it says does something with darkness.
Both bases are dark chips, so there's 4.
Got it. So yeah, I mean, like, the Navi Customizer was a really interesting way. There were also, there was an evolution on styles. There were styles in Battle Network 2. Once you got that style, you were kind of stuck with it. But in Battle Network 3, it introduced a way for you to control what style you got based off of the chips that you used.
Yes.
And specifically, it let you manipulate the element of a style. So say, for instance, if you were trying to get wood shield, you would load up your folder with a bunch of wood chips, and you would use defensive chips like guard, or you would use the guard buster or the back B guard Navi Customizer program, and you would just go through these battles over and over and over, and eventually you would get a new style, and you could replace your previous style, which I think was really nice.
Yeah.
It opened up, like, you could play the game, and the game changed around you, and that mechanic is really unique, and it's kind of, honestly, unique just to Battle Network 3. They never did anything like it in really any other installment.
No, not at all. And certain chips could only be used by certain styles as well.
Yes, that is right.
So, like, you had elemental chips like Salamander, Fountain, Bolt, Gaia Blade, and their subsequent weaker chips could only be used by that element. So,
and we're not talking, like, super weak sauce chips. These were, like, Gaia Blade was an insanely powerful chip. Godstone, yeah, oh my god. Wait, Godstone wasn't in 3, but Gaia Blade, it was?
Yeah, Godstone was in 3.
These chips were not like, they're not Weenie Hut Juniors. They're real heavy hitters.
Yeah. It also introduced a couple of new styles. So what was it? It was Shadow, Ground,
Bug.
and Bug. Was that it?
Yep.
Yeah, those were the 3 new styles, and then they expanded upon the others as well. Like, they gave them more abilities. They made them feel a lot better when you got them. Even Shield style didn't feel like booty.
Yeah, it felt like I constantly got wood style first because I was a big fan of, like, Lance and things. Well, Lance wasn't a wood chip in 3, but I was a big fan of that. I guess it was just bad RNG, but like they kind of kept like Guts, Shield, Team. And I'm forgetting a style.
Custom.
I just had it. Custom, yes. It's like they kind of iterated on those a little bit. I don't know. They also fundamentally changed the way that adding chips works in the custom screen. Whereas in Battle Network 2, you would add chips and it would open up those custom slots on your custom screen, and then that was it. Whereas with Battle Network 3, it does that, and you keep those slots. They stay open.
Yes. One other thing about these styles, they were also necessary if you wanted certain customizer parts and certain chips. Like, everything really revolved around styles, and it actually moved how you played the game forward and gave you a ton of content to do during and post game. So, like, let's say you wanted the super powerful V4 and V5 chips of certain navis. You had to get team style, and you had to start S ranking and stuff like that to get it, and that was the only way to get them. Same with things like Mega Folder +2. You needed team style for that. Same with things like float shoes and stuff like that. Shadow style was necessary. And it all just, it accumulated and it snowballed, and it just gave you more and more and more and more to do if you really wanted to get all those stars and 100% this game.
It felt really good to do it too. Like, you know that feeling when you were a kid playing Pokemon and you saw your Pokemon evolve for the first time?
Oh, dude.
Like, I got that same exact feeling, even though I know that the first style change happens at a predetermined position in the game, but subsequently after that, like, just getting that battle or, like, losing count of the number of battles leading up to a style change. Yeah. It's like, it's just that feeling of, like, opening a present on Christmas. It's just a great feeling.
I remember the area where it happens. I don't remember the scenario.
It's an AC/DC area.
With the school part. Like, that little section is supposed to be the school, and you're going against the heel navies. But I don't remember what scenario that is.
I'm pretty sure it's Beastman's scenario.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, that would make sense, yeah. Okay. Somewhere around there.
But yeah, so, like, kind of on the topic of navies, like, can we talk for a moment about the spread of fantastic antagonist net navies in this game?
Oh, can we please? Yes, indeed.
World 3 in this game was actually, it felt like a tangible threat. Like, the N1 Grand Prix was such a curveball for me as a kid that it blew my little middle school mind at the time. Like, you start off with Flashman as your antagonist, and he literally breaks Mega Man. Like, he crashes him. He destroys him to where he can't even communicate. Yeah. And Lan has to go all the way to Scilab to talk to his dad to get him fixed.
And then you get stuck in the sub-pet. Ugh!
God, I hate the sub-pet so much. That was such a... I don't know why, Capcom, did you do this to us?
Story, man. Story.
Right in the middle of the tournament. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had such navies like Beastman, Kingman, we don't...
Even Bubbleman played a really good part of this story. Although, to fight him, you had to get the most worthless Navi Customizer part.
God.
Press.
Compress. I hate Press so much.
Nah, dude,
and I had
to... little.
Because you have to unequip it and equip it if you want to stay effective, right? Like, it eats up, what is it, like 2 or 3? It eats up 3 Navicus spots. You don't have a lot of spots in the bubble scenario. I think there's like 1 expansion memory at that point.
What's the total size? Is it 5x5?
It's
6x... No, it's 5x5, right?
It is 5x5.
So you don't have the upgrade by that part.
Correct.
Or you don't have the full upgrade. You have it across, but not down.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah. So you don't even have access to your full Navi customizer there. And here you have to, like... and if you forget to unequip... Yeah, exactly. Like, just that area, too, was also rife with really difficult viruses at the time, too. Like, if you weren't equipped with an electric chip, God save your soul, because it would be kind of an uphill battle.
Let's finish up with the Navis, because I have a very good point to make as a counter-argument to how great 3 is.
Sure.
So, yeah, like you said, Kingman, and you get Desert Man, Plant Man, Flame Man, Beast Man, Copy Man.
Okay, Guts Man.
Yeah, whatever. Mist Man, or Bull Man, depending on your version. Mist Man is white, Bull Man is blue. They're both awful Navis. Drill Man, and Base. And to an extent, Alpha, I suppose, although he's just a boss, not really. Oh, and Punk!
I was about to say, you can't forget Punk, dude.
Oh my god,
like,
Punk. Oh,
they also had, like, a bunch of secret bosses, too.
Darkman, Japan Man, and Serenade.
Yamato Man in Japanese.
Yeah, there's a reason he stole the Y chip in 3, kids.
Yep.
So, a counter, like you were saying, a lot of these bosses are amazing. The scenario surrounding them really good. The story is so deep and intricate. But here's the counterpoint to that. The dumb shit it makes you go through to get through these plots is the worst part of Battle Network 3.
Yes.
Like you said, press is needed to fight Bullman. You need that energy change to get around Flame Man and Plant Man. And I guess those are really the biggest culprits, but it really sucked having to, 1, eat up your chips for energy change, and 2, having to take up my precious customizer slots for that.
Now, to that point, I will say that having to do that, I think, made it more impactful.
That's true.
And it kind of, it gave you a feel that Mega Man was equipping this. Like, you were making a tangible impact. So, yeah, while it was kind of inconvenient, like, it felt good to solve those puzzles with those. Like, when you finish Bubble Man by having to equip and unequip press all the time, like, that sense of relief for not having to have press until you get to beach area is, like, you just, like, it's a good feeling. And, yeah, you had to consume chips for energy change, but at the same time, there were so many viruses in the hospital area that there was no shortage of those.
I don't think that's where hot viruses should be, but the way I look at it, though, you're right about that. You can also look at it as it's Capcom gating your, like, how fast you can progress through this.
Yeah.
But it also makes Mega Man feel really limited. Like, he, I can't just barrel through my Mega Man's not all powerful yet. I still have to do these kind of things so he can get to that point.
But do you think that was intentional? Like, do you think that was an intentional game design? Because, like, these situations are designed to make World 3 seem like a threat. Because in the previous games, I mean, yeah, like, okay, cool, people are wrecking their cars because the stoplights are changing, or, woo, there's nuclear stuff going on. But those didn't really feel like actual threats. But in this one, your power is, like, intentionally gimped to put you at a disadvantage, I feel. And I don't have anything to back that claim up. That's just kind of my conjecture.
Yeah, that'll be in the Iguchi episode.
Assuming we can get in touch with Iguchi, Capcom, please, if you would let us talk to Iguchi, I would be very appreciative of that. Thank you.
Does Iguchi speak English?
I don't believe he does.
Nice. Wait till you hear my fucking conversational Nihongo. You're gonna have a good giggle.
Oh my god.
Look, you take 4 years of it and come back.
I would trust you to guide me and give me directions in Japanese.
It helps me sell liquor to the Japanese, so this must work.
Hey, that's fair. So. But yeah, like, I feel like, kind of going back to our previous topic, like, I think that, yeah, having that power, like, having to do those intentionally reduced your power to make the threats that were in the story that much more of a threat. Like, you weren't sitting there just steamrolling the entire game because you're Mega Man and you've got plot armor and, you know, this, that, and the third. And I feel like if that was an intentional game design, brilliant, so good. But if it wasn't, I mean, do you think that's poor game design or do you think it's good game design?
I guess it depends on what you're trying to go for in the game. I view it as fine. It's a little aggravating when you're having to just do it over and over. Yeah, it gets really repetitive and a bit annoying, but at the same time, I feel, maybe this is my other thing. I'd be okay with it if some of the puzzles were just a little bit shorter. That's really it, because you have to spend a lot of time, like, with press and energy change, you spend a good amount of time going through the hospital and Ura just to get that done. If it was just a little bit shorter, I feel like it was really drawn out. That's my only complaint. That's the bad game design part. I don't mind the others, though.
You know what was really, really solid in this game?
What's that?
The Undernet.
Oh my god, the Undernet was actually really good.
The music for it, too, was, like, really guttural and kind of had this sort of, like, glitchy, like, kind of almost record scratch in it, too.
Yeah, and the background was something but static.
Yeah, and it just, like, it felt like, remember in Battle Network 1 where we were talking about the Undernet and how garbage it looked because all the internet looked the same? Like, I think Battle Network 2 kind of did it with different wallpapers and different tiles, but BN3 really drove it home because those kits graphically that were for these areas, like, you could tell you were in the beach area because the color palette changed so wildly.
Yes.
You could tell you were in the Undernet because the background was so vivid. And just, like, I think Capcom did a very, very stellar job of really, like, separating these areas. Like, even the non-story, like, jack-in places, the NPCs were talking about things that had to do with what you jacked into. Like, for instance, the vending machines in beach area. I think it was the beach area.
Or was it Scilab?
It was Scilab.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about like, being broken, and an NPC at some part of the plot goes in there. Like, if you jack into the vending machine in different parts of the story, like, the NPCs in there change. Like, there's a Navvy that goes in there and fixes one of the Mr. Progs because he isn't vending a Coke right. So, I really like those kinds of attention to detail. Capcom did a good job.
The Undernet also, like, it's just so, again, wildly different. The tiles are crooked. The color schemes are like neon and stuff like that in certain areas. Everything feels really stitched together. And then you get to Secret Area. And
oh my god.
Some of the best music in the game plays. And it's just this serene... It looks beautiful. But if you're not careful, you will get deleted instantly.
I was about to say, it looks great, and you're like, wow, this place is great, and then you get a no virus.
Or then you get, or you make the mistake, and you try to mess with those numbered viruses.
Oh, jeez Louise.
You have to do it in this, or you have to do a certain amount of damage, and it's just,
The Dominards in that area gave me the absolute biggest, oh my god. Now, I will say that the Scuttless viruses were some of my favorite virus chips to use.
Yes.
Because they were wildly powerful.
Scuttles weren't in too, were they?
I think they might have been.
I don't remember. Maybe one version was. Because you get the Life Aura, but they didn't have the separate versions from 1 that were in 3. And I kind of found that interesting, that you find the Scuttle viruses in the secret area where things go to be like locked away or contained.
The Scuttle viruses were in Battle.net 2. They were in the World 3 areas.
Okay. So whatever areas we are. Late, like post-game areas, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I like it better in this because it kind of coincides with, well, the life virus was a thing. We'll seal the remnants of it in the secret area. Well, the remnants of life virus became the Scuttless kind of thing. I think that works a little bit better than they just show up in the World 3 area in 2, because, haha.
Well, like, we can't disregard the plot around Base, though, right? Like, no. he was basically recreated by bug frags.
Yeah, so in 2... well, no, not even in 2. Yeah, in 2, Base does this whole thing, and he goes and hunts down copies, all that stuff. In this one, Base plays an integral role in unlocking the main villain, or the main boss, I should say, which is the prototype of the internet called Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
You fight the internet in this game. Quite literally.
Yeah, you do.
And Alpha's whole thing is he's basically an amoeba. He's absorbing information, data, everything. And Dr. Wily uses Base's power to break the seal on Alpha, and then Base is absorbed by Alpha and destroyed. Or so we thought. Because the remnants of Base are then somehow found by the bug fragment remnants of Gospel, and they fuse.
And then you have to feed bug frags to a bug frag trader in the Undernet in order to unlock him. So you inadvertently resurrect Base.
Yes.
It's interesting.
And he becomes the super powerful version we all know, Base GS. He's pretty tough. And he's not, like, super dark, edgy yet, like in 4 and up. But he's a pain in the ass to deal with. And a really good last boss of the game. Man.
He'll wreck you, though.
Yeah, this game was so good.
It was. I mean...
The music was good, the settings were good. Most of the net was good.
God, I hate the beach area so much. All those move tiles.
All the move
forget
tiles.
that noise.
All the teleport tiles, too. Don't forget that.
Forget that noise. It was such garbage. So I think that there's another aspect of Battle Network 3, and that's the competitive aspect.
Oh, Lord. Here's where Mars kept me going, and I got deleted.
So I'm not going to go too deep into it. But before I do, Adell, I wanted to ask you, I asked this at the top of the show, I don't remember if there was an answer, but what is your fondest memory of BN3?
Well, like I said previously, it was hearing Final Operation and basically the end, but My fondest memory... I didn't really get to play PvP a lot, because there weren't a lot of kids around me where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
But my fondest memory is when I got Master Style off in the battle aspect. And then it was also when I found the GameFAQs thing for the mod codes.
Oh god, the mod codes and the mod tools, those are really nice too.
Yeah, that's one thing I really miss from BN3 and later games. So we still have the Navi Customizer, but this game introduced mod tools and EX codes. And what this allowed you to do is you could... So when you leveled up your style, you got new programs, but your Navi Customizer is gated to only use certain colors based on your Mega Man. Okay, fair enough, right? So, in order to get around this, you get the mod tools, you could put in something that doesn't match your dude, and you get an error code. Alright, mod tools. You hit select, you input a code, and it works. Or, if you don't have an error, you can just hit select anyway, input another code, and you get a boost. And they range in... It's nuts what you can pull off. Like, there's one for HP plus 1000, but there's the bug attached to that is you move around and poison panels show up, but who cares? You have 1000 HP, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or air shoes, or super armor, or, you know, all kinds of things. I think energy change is one of them, actually, and press. If I remember, it's... Let me... I'm just gonna... Okay.
So, while Adell is doing science, I think that... No, too much science, too far.
Alright, cheats, here we go.
Okay.
No, I was wrong about that. My bad. You don't get energy change in press. But you get crazy things. You get slow gauge, fast gauge, mega folder 2 through 5, brake buster, brake charge, anti-damage, air shoes, HP 100 through 1000, NPC block, humor, shadow shoes, undershirt. Like, you get all kinds of crazy things. And it's really nice. A lot of people didn't use these, though, because your Navi Customizer parts were just really good.
There were some Navi Customizer parts that required mod tools that were really, really, really good.
Yeah, like Dark License. Oh, man. Bug Stop.
Yeah. Which was weird. I always thought that was... I mean, I understand, because, like... It's, Yeah.
Remember getting Bug Stop? There's my fondest memory. Getting Bug Stop. There you go.
It was like a veil of clarity.
Yeah. I pulled the trigger.
I've got a story to tell.
Shoot.
So, my fondest Battle Network memory is actually a set of them. When I was young, my best friend Steven had moved out of his parents' house for a couple reasons. And he was staying with a church family for a while. And so we went. He didn't have internet access at all. So they lived kind of in a rural area. And I would go over and hang out and spend the night with my friend. I was young. We were both young at the time. And we really had nothing to do but play chess and Mega Man Battle Network 3.
Oh, hell yes. Literally the same game.
So we had both maxed out our game clocks, which go to 99.98.
What?
For some reason. Yes. So we had spent hundreds of hours on this game. Like, if I had to put a number to it, it was probably upwards of 200 or 250. Like, we spent an entire summer playing BN3, and we would just do nothing but, like, go head to head. Like, I had white version, he had blue version, so he had access to Giga Chips, like, folder back, and we'd constantly use them. So I would have to develop strategies that went against folder back, for Pete's sake, and I only had, a couple things, but that's where, like, the strategy for, like, you could area grab 3 times and lock your opponent into one single square, and then you could drop grass stage, and then drop meteors, and then it would just do so much damage, because every single meteor would only hit one panel, and just things like that. Like, those are my fondest memories, because BN3 just had such an interesting chip spread. Like, I think my second folder was a virus folder centered around, like, Scuttlist and Metar and stuff like that.
Wow.
And
using Scuttlist, this dude?
Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of people have a lot of very fond memories. If you go out to a crowd of people that like Battle Network, if you can ever find a crowd of people who like Battle Network,
join us in New York for the next meeting.
It's true. If you go out and ask them what their favorite BN is, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say Battle Network 3.
6.
And well, I mean, that's the 1 out of 10, but I think just a combination of like the post game, the engaging story, the changes to the battle system, the Navi customizer, just all these kind of things come together and make a really solid experience. I've kind of rambled this episode. My apologies.
That was a good story, Max. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's okay. We've been all over the place, but it's really exciting to talk about this game because there's just so much to it. Trying to think what else. There's a few things I wanted to touch on. I'm trying to remember. Let's think. What did we miss?
Let's see. We got the plot, chips, the Navi customizer, style changes.
Did we cover the plot?
We touched on the plot.
We touched here and there.
Yeah, we touched on it where it was appropriate to talk about the plot.
But let's just go through the plot then, real quick.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So apparently this takes place just a couple months after Battle Network 2. And, 10 years after Battleship Challenge. All right, so.
Using Battleship Challenge in a timeline.
Hell yeah,
what
man.
A time to be alive.
2017 is the best year. All right, so World 3 is back. And at the same time, there's also the M1 Grand Prix being held. And it's an attempt to find the strongest net battle in Electopia. And everyone from all over the world is entering. Okay, cool. So, of course, Land and Mega Man get through it all. Blah, 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 blah. And it turns out that World 3 is doing their attacks in a coordinated effort. They seem random, but it's a coordinated effort to get these things called the Tetra Codes. And once they have all 4, they can revive Alpha. So everything starts, getting messy while we're doing a tournament. They hit the school, they hit the zoo, they hit the inn, and they hit Scilab. Yeah. Wait, was the last one in the Undernet? Yeah, because Drill Man, right?
Yes.
Oh, no, Drill Man
correct.
stole it from Scilab, and then, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, because he needed Tetra Codes to get through the gates in Scilab, to get to Alpha, and then drill through to the Undernet.
Right, because there is that, you can go through that hole in the Undernet.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's... Play the game. There's an order that happens. Anyway.
There's 4 Tetra Codes.
Yeah, the school, the zoo, and other places. It's been a while. I played this on my GBA a couple months ago, but it was a used cart, so I was a little bit ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel like starting over either. But it was a good way up. So it all happens, and they're trying to revive Alpha, which is the original prototype of the Internet that was created by Dr. Hikari.
He was made by
Or was it made by
he was made by Tadashi Hikari,
Yes.
which is basically, literally Dr. Light.
Yeah, Dr. Light messed everything up again. It's all his fault. Just like MegaMasterX. So, this happens, and all the while we're getting help from this dude named Cossack, who... I love Cossack. I think he's one of the cooler not original, but better redesigns that they did for the humans.
Yeah.
Previous games.
I think that they kind of wasted his character in the games. Like, he really was more of a character in the manga.
Oh, definitely. Which that's the other thing I wanted to touch on. Thank you. So, moving on, he helps us, he mods our stuff. He helps compress things, like, only a professional programmer, blah, blah, blah. It turns out, we learn about Cossack. He's the dude who created Base. And is kind of the reason for the whole... he kind of moved things forward in the way they are happening now, inadvertently, because of Base. With the Alpha Revolution and all this other stuff, but that's touched more in the manga.
Yeah.
In a really
nice
way.
Which I think I feel like we should make the manga and other mediums its own kind of, episode.
Oh, I agree completely. There's just so much there.
Yeah.
So they get it, and we have to go to Skull Island where they're dumping toxic waste into the ocean because, of course, Wily is evil. And we get there, and we can't get through, and the gates are locked, and we're just looking around, and we're surrounded by tanks. And we have to figure out, well, what do we do? There's no place to jack in. And there are these chairs. Okay, what do these chairs do? Well, you put your PET in the chair, and then you put yourself in the chair, and then you enter the cyber world with your NetNavi.
Very dangerous, because
Yes.
if you died in the cyber world, obviously your consciousness is destroyed.
Yeah, so you're brain dead.
Yep.
That's it. You're not dead, but you're just you're a drooling mess, and it's really, really dangerous. So we get through it all. You know, we get through the tanks, spitting fire and lobbing rocks and drills. Why was there a tank with a drill? And we get to the final place, and Wily has pulse transmitted himself into where Alpha is being held. And this is going a lot better than his idea to launch the life virus in a rocket into space.
Very much so.
I still remember I'm still confused about that. Why was... Okay.
We had a NetNavi and a Meteor in BN4. That's not the craziest thing that the series has thrown at
I
us.
suppose. Okay, so we get in, we pulse transmit in, and we're alone, basically. It's just you, Mega Man, against everything. Base is there. He busts open the last thing that's holding Alpha in place. It eats Base. It eats Wily. It comes out, and we have to fight this thing. And that being said, I think Alpha's one of the easier bosses.
Oh, by far.
I've seen a run where the dude deletes it in about 18 seconds with just a buster.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of sad.
One of the Team BN members did it, I believe. That was a really interesting video.
So he gets harder in his final, after you get all the stars, all that stuff. He puts up a bit more of a challenge because he does damage. But this one's just whatever. So you beat him, and we're about to get out of there, and then we're eaten. Land and Mega Man are eaten by Alpha, by his remnants. And it turns out, while in Alpha, we get to find this door to the past, essentially. And it turns out the thing that was holding Alpha in place was built there by Tadashi Hikari. And it's basically a memento. I forget what they call it. Oh, a vision burst. Yes, thank you. There's a vision burst in this thing. It's like, oh, hey, there's a door. What? They walk through it. It's Proto-Scilab. It's just a place with a bunch of cardboard boxes and wires everywhere and a couple of computers. Way back when.
The Vision Burst was introduced because there's kind of like a small breadcrumb trail hunt where Tadashi Hikari's dog Gao is introduced, and that introduces Vision Burst as a plot point. Like, it's literally a door that's just there in the internet. No one just bothered to look for it.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's a Vision Burst.
Huh.
That's where you find Gao on the internet.
Huh. Interesting. So, yeah, and they meet the grandfather. He's only personality data, and he gives them a letter for Lan's dad. And they're like, oh, you guys are growing up so well. Blah, 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 blah. And, yeah. Well, and then Mega Man has to self-destruct. And Lan escapes alive.
Yeah, can we talk about how much of a heavy moment that sacrifice was in the middle of this? Like, you just beaten the final boss of the game, and then, you just get this, moment, this small reprieve, and then Mega Man makes that sacrifice, and you're just like...
It's like, alright, we're gonna make it out. What?
And even in the credit sequence, everyone's, consoling Lan because he lost Mega Man.
Yeah. And it's no one really understands except, Lan and his family how deep that connection was. It's like, yeah, I didn't just lose my NetNavi. My brother blew himself up to save my life.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
It's really heavy. And the music that's playing, Farewell.
Oh. Such a good soundtrack choice.
Especially the vocal version.
Oh, yeah, there is a vocal version of that. Yeah. Wasn't it on the 15th?
It was.
Anniversary album? 15th or 20th? I can't remember.
It was
on one of the anniversaries. It was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, because I've got a wall scroll for the 15th anniversary.
Yeah, look, it's right there.
Yeah, here it is. You can see it right now. I'm holding it.
And so we go through the credits, and we're just thinking, this is it. We don't have Mega Man anymore. And then, big spoiler, Lan's dad comes home. He's like, hey, I decoded the letter. It had Mega Man's backup data in it.
Didn't it also contain... I think it contained Tadashi's personality data, too.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything with that. Like,
yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Oh,
like,
BT tells my grandpa's in... my dad's in here?
Dad, I missed you!
I am only a program, dummy.
Oh.
Yeah. So, that's the plot of the game. Now, the manga takes, I think, a better approach, blending 2 into 3 into 4. Because 3 plays a very small role in the manga.
It does, mostly because... I think that when they start... Because, like, the manga... And like I said, I mean, we could spend an entire episode on this, but the manga goes through the games... Like, it's only a 13-volume series.
Yeah.
And they kind of, like, starting at BN3... They, like, touch on a few things, and then it's just off to the races. They just, like, start shoving plot points from each of the games. Like, 4 goes by in probably a single volume.
Volume and
5... Yeah, give or take, yeah. But one of the key points is that in Volume 6, at the end, it goes into detail the story about Base's genesis, which is canon. It is canon.
Yes.
And Dr.
Really
Cossack's interaction with him. And it turns out that Base's entire existence and attitude in the story is just a gross, disgusting, and unfortunate misunderstanding.
Yep. That's it.
So,
that's it.
Yeah.
It is literally, hey, Base, I need you to find the bugs in our system. Hey, man, stop breaking our system. Hey, make a better system. Alpha breaks out. Oh, no, it must be Base. Hey, Dr. Cossack, do I look stylish with these on?
Oh yeah, it's the cuffs. That was so good. And he's like, yes, my son, fit enough to kill. He doesn't say call him his son, but he should have.
You look good, kid. And then Dr. Cossack disables the stuff, and they're like, oh, Base is escaping. And then they all think that the Alpha Revolution is because of him. And he's like, dude, no, I didn't do anything. And then he gets his butt whipped, and, you know, he's dying in the internet, and he starts eating viruses to gain their power.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And that is basically the story of Base. It's like, oh, Base is blamed, but he didn't do anything. And Cossack was like, dude, he's not doing anything. He's trying to make your system better. Why don't you listen to my damn auto-navi?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's really tragic, all things considered. Because he had good intentions, and, like... all he knew was that he had this get ability program and that Dr. Cossack made him, and then all of a sudden everyone's like attacking him and threatening him, and it's just really sad. But yeah, I think to top it off, like the post game in BN3 was really interesting because it doesn't inherently tell you that things change, but things change. Like if you want to go into detail about the Ura Inn and stuff like that, you can.
So the Ura Inn has the area to the secret net hidden behind the hot springs. Take a little elevator down, and there's a service for the internet, and it takes you into Undersquare, and then you go into the area. So the thing about that is you're not allowed to enter the secret area unless you have a certain rank. And I think you have to be rank 3, something like that. You have to be pretty high up.
You do.
Yeah. So you go into there and you enter the secret area, and it's requests, you know, then you start fighting Darkman, Yamato, or Japan Man, and then Serenade. And you're exploring this area, and things don't, you know, it's just... all while you're doing this, if you pay attention, things are just changing constantly. Viruses are getting a little different. Mega Man's doing, you know, like your battle style changes too when you enter that area. Everything inherently changes.
It does, and it kind of has to, really, because at that point you're kind of at the apex of your power, or so you think. and then to go to this area and just get absolutely clobbered by Dominards and no viruses.
And it turns out, if you pay attention, when you meet Serenade seems like an auto-navi. I just ruled this place. But Serenade has a mark on her, right? Serenade's a woman in Japan?
It's...
Or is it supposed to be ambiguous?
He's androgynous.
Okay.
Isn't androgynous? I think it is.
Yeah, androgynous.
Yeah, he's androgynous.
Are you assuming?
It's referred to as a female in the manga. It's referred to as a male in the game.
See, that's the thing. I don't know how Japan did it, and I'd probably base that off of... So we'll just call it Serenade.
Yeah.
So Serenade has a mark, though. And if you look and pay attention, someone else has this mark in the real world. It's our good buddy Mamoru. In the hospital.
The biggest twist.
On the wheelchair is the exact same mark that is on Serenade's waist. And it turns out that Mamoru is indeed the person who's going to inherit the Undernet, who's going to become the server admin. And
it is
huge.
Yeah, it really is big. It's also worth noting that you really can't tell on his wheelchair because of the pixel density in Battle Network 3. They're still using the graphical assets from the previous Battle Network iteration, so it's kind of bigger in comparison to the screen. But if you are very fortunate and have a copy or access to a copy of the official complete works for Rock Band EXE, you can actually see in the concept art that it's very vividly Serenade's Navi emblem on his wheelchair.
Yes. That's pretty fun. I would have liked to know who Darkman and Japan Man's operators are.
I think they were autonomous, kind of like Bomb Man and Stone Man.
Okay, alright. I didn't know if they were auto navis or not. Same with, I guess, Bull Man and Mist Man, huh?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Yeah, there's some... Is there anything else that needs to be touched on? Nothing really to cover with the manga, other than he gets style change from 2, gets bug style from Serenade in 3, and then gets double soul in like 2 panels later.
Yes, that is correct.
I like that as a segue, though. That's a good segue. It's like, oh, I'm bug style. I don't know what's going to happen. And then he inherits double soul through. It's like, oh.
It's like getting a program accidentally installed when you install something else.
Yeah, basically.
Also, Serenade gives Proto Man Muramasa, which is kind of cool in the manga.
Yeah.
It's just like off to the side, too. He's like, Proto Man's getting his butt beat, and then he suddenly remembers, whoa! And then Serenade's like, hello, you look kind of strong, here's a sword. And he's like, oh, okay, thank you so much, Serenade. And then that's it.
You want to fight the denizens of the dark? Hell yeah! Here's a sword. Okay, thanks.
Take my sword. Alright, whee!
Hire a samurai.
But yeah, so Battle Network 3, there's a lot of fond memories. I mean, we could riff about Battle Network 3, I'm sure, for hours and hours and hours.
One other thing, though.
Oh, what are we forgetting?
Touch on. It's back to PvP, though.
Okay.
This game has some of the most broken PvP in any iteration of the game. Like, we're doing nothing but praising, but we will not forget that this PvP is inherently, unfortunately, broken because of certain chips.
Area grab.
Area grab. You can grab all of the panels except one on your opponent's side of the field. Grab Revenge does not push them back. So if they don't move, they'll take the damage, but if they don't move off those panels, you're not leaving.
Not to mention you can reduce the damage in this game of a screen dimming chip by holding the back button at just the right time.
That works with any?
That works with any screen dimming chip.
What?
Yes.
That's silly. So, speaking of screen dimming, you know how after you're hit with a really strong attack, you're invincible for a little bit?
Yep.
Alright, let's look past that. So now we have Flash Man and Plant Man.
Oh god.
So they are screen dimmers, and they will break your invincibility. When you're flickering, they bring you right back, and you're stunned too. That's the best part. You can combine that with Killer Eyes. There's a delightful webum of Mars bodying his friend in less than 10 seconds with Plant Man and then a combo of Killer Eyes, and because he's just stuck there. It's disgusting. He just
It is.
over and over and over and over and over and over, and then he's dead. And it's awful. Folder back is another reason things are really bad. There's a good variety of chips. I'm not going to deny that. And then I think there's just too many Navi chips as well.
Well, I mean, you had access to team style, and you also had a plethora of Navi customizer parts that increased the number of mega chips you could use.
Yes.
So I think that it was intentional to have that many Navi chips, but the version 1, version 2, version 3, I mean, that carried over into pretty much all the other games, except the other games just did it like EX and SP, so instead of having like... Or DS, yeah. Instead of having like base V2, V3, V4, it's, you know.
Well, here's the other issue though. This game also has the most Giga chips, only because the version 5 Navi chips are Giga chips.
Oh yeah.
I feel like this was padding. Like this was a thing to artificially make the game feel longer. It's like, oh, I have to grind this out now. That gives me more time to put into this. And it's really a pain in the ass. For lack of better words. Getting the version 5s is awful. Because you have to S-rank these super hard Navis. And then hope that you get version 5.
It kind of forced you to learn how to cheese game mechanics in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are some Navis that you can't, like... You obviously can't area lock like Desert Man,
no,
for instance, or things like that, or King Man.
Yeah.
But it did introduce. That's kind of. I think that kind of feeds into the post game of BN3, and that's kind of one of the other things that makes it so good, or what people think. I think people think of BN3's post game as good compared to other BN games because there was a lot more content after the game was over.
Oh yes, I agree.
I mean, you had to S rank the Omega Navis or get a star. You had to
beat the time trials.
Wait, you had to beat the time. God, I hated those time trials so much.
I kind of liked the time trials. It gave you an opportunity. It's like, oh, are you going to fight Flame Man Omega? Yes. All right, now build your folder around that and try to S rank it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. That's what I like about it. There is a lot to do. But when you add that many chips in just to get the star, it feels really artificial. It doesn't feel like I'm actually accomplishing anything other than grinding out this one thing, using lock enemy and hoping I run into the same dude so I have a chance to get his V4, V5.
Now granted, if you beat the time trials, you get Dark Aura in blue version, and you get Serenade's Navi chip in the white version.
Only one of these is good, can you guess?
It's not Serenade. That chip is kind of garbage.
Even if it's S, it's garbage.
They both require... they both require either a Dark Hole chip or the Navi Customizer part. So there's setup for these. And, it's just... I don't know. The trade-off isn't there, at least to me.
It's a lot of work. Yeah, they're not used a lot for that one big reason. What was the other thing I was going to mention here? It was, shit. You lost me when you said Serenade. Think. It was...
You got this, Adell. I believe.
Now I'm good. I honestly can't remember now. I'm thinking about it too hard.
Well, I'm sure that people can leave a comment in the YouTube comments section.
Yes.
If there is anything you would like to riff about for Battle Network 3, if we've gotten anything wrong, we are very open to feedback and are more than willing to rectify, correct, re-record the entire episode.
I mean, I would honestly like to get a lot of our comments together and retouch episodes and figure out, what all do we actually need for this? Because there's a lot that we may not be able to touch upon for you guys, and I honestly like it. I'd like to, make sure we get everything, make you guys happy, and I like talking about this.
Yeah, I do too. There's one thing that we didn't talk about too much.
What's that?
I forgot about. Master Style?
I just mentioned that's one of my fondest memories.
Oh yeah, you mentioned MomCake too.
Mom,
Get the camera. You did. You mentioned MomCake. MomCake.
MomCake. MomCake. Uh-oh.
Freudian slip at its finest. But yeah, so
Master Style. Real quick on that. Easily obtainable early in the game.
Very much so, because all you need are number codes.
Yep, and they're star-coded. So you may not be able to use the actual chips individually, but you can combine them and do a PA that does 900 damage and cheese your way through up to Drill Man almost.
Just about, yeah.
It's pretty bad.
It is.
So, yeah.
But yeah. That's Battle Network 3.
Yeah. Good music. I honestly wish that someone... I'll have to underdo it. I'll have to undertake the task myself. I wish that I could see this game done in like a BN6 way. You know what I mean? Where the sprites are smaller, but even then a little more detailed.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like the bigger sprites, oh man, they're bigger, but they lack a lot of detail.
I wish that we got the Operate Shooting Star treatment for all of the installments.
Ooh, could you imagine BN3 on the DS with Wi-Fi?
Oh my god.
I don't want to play Operate Shooting Star ever again, though.
Capcom, if you are listening, we would like all of the Battle Networks remastered in a collection on the DS. Signed the entire Mega Man community. Thanks.
Only on DS, though. Not 3DS, not Switch, just the DS.
Well, I mean, it's probably cheaper to... I don't know.
Oh, no.
3DS, just Virtual Console, just give me Mobile Battle Chip Challenge. I'm desperate here.
Mobile Battle Chip? This dude's really desperate. What in the goddamn...
Well, I love Battle Chip Challenge. It's the best Battle Network game.
I mean, it really is. It has, some of the deepest lore. It's got a really good battle system.
Yeah.
It's very skill-based.
People think it's a meme, but I mean it. It's probably one of the best Battle Network games.
Oh shit, he's being genuine. Leave a comment below if you think he's lost his mind. From MomCake.
Alright, Adell.
Alright. Hey, good episode, MMX. We did it.
We did. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe for more episodes of Net Savers Podcast. I want to apologize to the community because this delay, this 2-month gap, it's probably not. Yeah, it's been a while. We don't want this to happen again. I think I speak for Adell too when I say that we really enjoy putting these together. We like the community, enjoying them. We want to keep doing this. We want to get more guests on, riff about more Battle Network stuff, and yeah. Really sorry, guys and girls.
I feel we could honestly do an entire episode of PvP for BN3 because it's that crazy. If we got Mars on, we gotta tighten the leash.
Yeah, well, we gotta make sure our schedules align. That's the trick right now.
The stars will never align again.
Just trust me when I say that. Trust me when I say that we will have an entire PvP-centered episode, and it's probably going to be when we reach 6. I've got a lot to say about that.
I'd like that. I also know that Salad has offered her input for 6.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. Oh, MMX, before we end all this and do the credits and stuff, is there something you want to tell the folks about that's coming up, maybe?
Yeah, so we got the M1 Grand Prix Season 2 Summer Oram Bash that is going to be at the beginning of next month. At this point, we had to reschedule because of some schedule conflicts for a lot of the active members of the community. So if you have not already, please feel free to join the M1GP Discord. It is in the description of this video. It is also in the sidebar of the Battle Network subreddit.
Yes.
And, yeah.
And if you're not fortunate enough to be able to take part in it, you can watch it. MX, where can they watch it?
You can go to twitch.tv/TeamBN, where this weekend, which this being the 16th, there is currently a speedrunning marathon, but we're going to be hosting the M1 Grand Prix Season 2 on Team BN's channel. They have graciously allowed us to utilize their channel and just kind of centralize our content on that one channel.
Nice.
Of course, you can also follow me on Twitch, on Twitter. I'm at MegaMasterX on both of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can also find me on this YouTube channel. Also Twitter at twitter.com/trainer_Adell and twitch.tv/tactical_network. Am I underscore? I always forget. I haven't streamed in a while. I should get back to that.
You should. I kind of miss you playing League of Legends, my dude.
I miss playing Dark Souls as well. Oh yeah, I'm underscore. Okay, good. I'm not retarded. I like my underscores.
You do.
Look, if they just give me Adell, I'd be happy, but I can't.
It's probably because there's a musical artist with the same name.
It might spell differently. Oh, hey, look, TBN Summer Showcase 2017.
Yep. So yeah, thank you, fine ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into the Net Saviors podcast, episode number 4.
That's right, because we did a 3. It wasn't 3.
My name is MegaMasterX.
Yes, and join us next time where we will talk about a huge update to the game known as Battle Network 4, Blue Moon.
Cataclysmic. Boktai. We're talking about Boktai.
I'm glad crossovers started, but we'll get into that. Right? We got to get away from this. We're gonna start up already.
We do, yeah. We're gonna fire up. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
Let's just record them. Let's just go in tangent. Let's go.
Yes. Just,
get them out. We should get them out months in advance.
No. I'm stopping the recording.
Wait, I'm not done.
No. I'm not gonna do a month's worth of podcast.
No, not
one
that,
night.
nerd. I was gonna do the outro. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. Join us next time. We will be talking about Battle Network 4. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, keep busting those viruses.
Jack in! Mega Man! Execute.
Jack in! I'm sorry. Transcode! Mega Man!
Oh no, stop it.
And that wraps up our episode. Thank you for listening, and join us next time, where we're going to move forward and talk about Battle Network 4, Blue Moon, Red Sun. A big thank you to Kokiremix for the music used in this episode. If you'd like to hear more, be sure to check out their YouTube at Kokiremix.